Hello Agilers and welcome back for another vlog where we'll provide first look for another new integration provided with AgilePoint NX version 9, AgilePoint integration for Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is a near real-time distributed RESTful search and analytics engine. It is based on the Apache Lucene open source project and is highly popular within the developers community, which in turn made it popular within the enterprise and the digital ecosystem as a whole. It provides a highly scalable and flexible solution for indexing, searching, and analyzing structured as well as unstructured data in real time. It is designed to handle large volumes of data and offer robust full-text search capabilities as well as advanced features like distributed searching, real-time analytics, and near real-time indexing. As a fact, if you are searching for a ride on Uber, products on eBay, even love on Tinder, restaurants, and many more, you are searching on Elasticsearch. Powered by the Elasticsearch, the ELK stack is a combination of three open source tools: Elasticsearch, Kibana, and integrations. It is widely used for many type use cases including centralized log management and analysis, reporting, metrics and alertings, machine learning, security and SIEM tools and solutions, and many more. Here's a brief overview of each component. Elasticsearch, of course, is the core engine of the ELK stack, providing scalable search and analytics capabilities. Kibana is a powerful visualization and exploration tool that allows users to interact with the data stored in Elasticsearch. It provides a web-based interface for searching, analyzing, and creating visualization and dashboards. And finally, integrations is a set of plugins and data pipelines that ingest and transforms data from various sources such as logs, metrics, and other event data before sending them to Elastic for indexing. With the release of version 9, AgilePoint provides integration for Elasticsearch. The integration has two independent main parts. Part 1 of the integration is an Agile connector, which acts as a data pipeline that transforms and streams process and application data to Elasticsearch to ingest for indexing. Part 2 of the integration is a set of process activities. This will allow no-code drag and drop activities onto your process and automations to query and write data to and from Elasticsearch. And of course, as part of the integration, an Elasticsearch access token has been added to handle and manage the connections to Elasticsearch for both the connector and activities. In this next vlog demo, we'll be focusing on the connector part of the integration. As mentioned, the connector acts as a data pipeline that transforms and streams process and application data to Elasticsearch to ingest for indexing. It will stream process and application data to Elasticsearch as a single JSON document. So all instance per process and application information is structured into a single JSON document and streamed to Elasticsearch. It is fully transparent to the application and process model, so no action is needed on the process or application for data to be streamed. Data will be streamed onto a dedicated index, which is a time series based index, and it allows a configurable worker threads to make an efficient and scalable processing for both AgilePoint and Elasticsearch. To have the integration in place, and if you'd like to follow along with me on this demo, you'll need an AgilePoint NX version 9, Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch can be anywhere, locally or in the cloud, as long as you can connect to it from your AgilePoint server instance. We highly recommend using version 8 and above, though as the integration uses the core capabilities of Elasticsearch, then earlier versions should work just fine. You also need credentials and permission to log into Elasticsearch. This can either be an API key or a username and password. And finally, you need to make sure that your AgilePoint workflow database is running on top of SQL Server 2016 or above. Following is the recipe we will follow for this demo, an overview. We'll start by review the connector configuration and options. Then we'll generate some data to be streamed to Elasticsearch. This would be simply done by interact with any of our applications, such as submitting a new request, approve an existing task, create or update some data from a form-based application, and the like. We'll follow to check on the index created in Elasticsearch, review the document streamed into it, and query some data. And lastly, we'll use Kibana visualization tools to explore the intelligence and visualization options available as data is available on Elasticsearch. So let's get to it. I'm going to jump over into my development environment. It's a virtual machine where I have both AgilePoint and Elastic installed locally. So let's start by opening the connector configuration and see what options we have there. So I'm going to open up the AgilePoint Server Manager and then select the instance and open its configuration. Then head into the integration where we have all the connectors being configured. Select the Elastic Streamer configuration as I named it in here and open its configuration, and that's the configuration we have. Quite simple, straightforward. The most essential part is the access token, which it needs to be configured on the portal Manage Center global access token. Access token being used by connector must be global access token, so we'll head into the Manage Center later and see how it's being configured, but that's the first thing you need to configure on the portal, and then you can open the configuration of the connector and select the configured global access token for Elastic. All other configuration can be kept on the default, or you can customize them to your own need and preference. The first thing to note is the index prefix. This would be the naming convention for your index. This would be the prefix. Again, this is a time series based index, so follow on this prefix there would be the date. So like year dash month dash day. We'll see this later on demo, but the prefix you can customize to your own preference as you'd like. Thread count, how many concurrent threads can handle and stream the data to Elastic. You can tune it up and down, although this setting is fully capable to handle large volumes of data to be streamed to Elastic. You can change the stream interval. Basically, whenever there is a data update event, it will be cached on real time and queued. But the connector will use this stream interval to pull it from the queue and stream it to Elastic. So again, you can tune it up and down in order to balance your environment more properly to your needs. Timeout for any API call with Elastic, and lastly we have the apply numeric index. So this would be a pattern or template installed on this index, so Elastic will try to automatically identify the data and classify numerical data as opposed to date or text-based data. So the index would be much more efficient, and you can then use it more efficiently within search, filters, aggregations, and so on. So that's pretty much it. Quite simple and straightforward. That's everything inside the configuration of the connector. We can now close this and head into the Manage Center to see the access token. So I'm gonna go into again the Manage Center inside the portal, and then again App Builder global access token, and you can see that we have an Elasticsearch access token added. We'll step inside of it, and I already have my access token configured. We can open it just to see what's inside of it. Again, very simple and straightforward. You just need to provide a name, provide an endpoint for your Elastic instance or cluster. And again, this can be anywhere as long as you can access this endpoint. And then finally, in order to authenticate it, either provide an API key or provide a username and password. So I'm going to cancel because my access token is already configured and ready and ready to be used by the connector, and that's it. Next part is to just generate and stream some data, and this would be simply done by just submitting some requests, approving some tasks, updating some form-based data-driven application, and so on. But before we do so, let's quickly jump into the Elastic Kibana DevTools just to see if we have anything. So again, our index prefix is proc inst data. So if I start type, it will open in IntelliSense and show me all the available index with this corresponding to what I started to type. So as you can see, the last index I have is from June 11. So currently there is no index for today. Today is June 14, as you can see on my date for the machine. So there is no, because I haven't done anything on this environment yet today. So the last one is from June 11, 3 days ago. So let's now clear this and head into my work center and submit some information. So let's start by submitting a new leave request. Maybe it's always good to take some time off. So I'm gonna submit a new leave request. Let's say from the 19th and up until 22nd. It's gonna be for a personal leave. Let's tick all the checklist. I'm ready and set. I did all my preps and just submit. So this is number 1. Okay, now let's head into another application, order management. This is a form data driven application. So let's update some of the records. So again, this will generate a data update event. Actually, before we do so, let's head back into the Elastic, and now let's check if we have get proc it needs to refresh. Get proc. Okay, here it's refreshed now. So as you can see, we now have index created for today, 14th of June. Okay, previously the last one was 11, and now we've generated the data stream event, and we now have this. So let's create a quick query on top of this index and see what's in it. So again, currently we only submitted one request. We only generated one data event, so we only have one document. So you can see I search on everything inside this index, but currently there's only one document in this index, and this is the document. Okay, so it's inside that index, inside our index. It has the ID of this is a GUID, and it's the same as the proc inst ID. So you have full correlation between your Elasticsearch documents and your AgilePoint process instances. Okay, so the process instance ID will be used for the document ID. And then if we drill down in here, we can see that all the process information is in here. WF proc inst information, like the proc instance ID, the proc inst name, which you can see again, it's the same as the document ID. The proc inst name, the def ID, the status, the initiator, everything is in here. WF activity inst information is also in here, so we can see all the different activity insts. We can see the WF manual work items information. Okay, we can see the events, and obviously we can also see the form data and any kind of primary data source which is linked into these processes, into this app as well. Okay, so all the information is in here. So again, this was just one document that we streamed. Let's generate some additional data event. This time this would be from form-based application. So let's edit this one. And let's add another. This will be for 2023. Let's say June 14, quantity 1000, unit price 10, total amount is 10,000 and description is the same, road 150. And let's submit this one. This again will now generate a data event and will just transform the complete data into a JSON document and restream it into Elastic. Let's do another one. So this time I'm just gonna change maybe the phone number, just update this one, submit. Okay, let's maybe head back into my task, see if I have any pending task. Let's approve it as well. Okay, so I actually have two. One is from the leave request we just submitted. So again, this is my demo environment, so I have the role of being the requester and the manager and everything. So now as a manager, I'm gonna approve the request. And let's open the second request in here and approve it as well. This was previously submitted. So approve, submit, and that should be it. That should be fine. We've generated some data events, and now again the connector has catch these events, transformed the complete data of the instance into a JSON document and streamed it into Elastic. So if we now, again, before we had just one document inside this index, so now if we run the query again to bring everything inside this index, we can see that we have total of 3 documents. Okay, so and again we can see all the different documents in here, and whatever information is inside this information. Again, this will include both the process related information like tasks and events and the activities and so on, as well as data driven information like the leave date, start date, leave and return date, total number of dates, or from the customer order management, the customer name and the customer contact, and the order history, and so on and so forth. So everything is in here, and this is the form data or the application data. So for instance, this is from the leave request. You can see that all the information from a leave request is in here as well, and so on and so forth. Now we can explore this more, but I would like to head into the Kibana dashboard and see what we can do with this information as well. Now that we have the information inside Elastic, we can take the full-blown power of the ELK stack, especially the Kibana, to analyze and visualize and drive some intelligence and even machine learning from this information. So again, before I started to stream the data, I opened up this dashboard, and it's set for today. So again, nothing popped up because again, this was before the first document was streamed for today's index. So now let me refresh it. Now that we have documents streamed into this index, we can now see the information popping up. And now you can see again, we have again information from both the process, and we can create visualization for process data, like how many processes been completed, how many are running, the diversity of the process, like what's the process name, what's the version, and what's the status. Again, all of them are currently completed, so it's equally break between the leave request to the order management. Okay, we can see this tag cloud, which shows us, you know, a kind of more nice visualization of which documents, or for our concern, which application are more dominate, or more we have more volumes of. Okay, so the one that has more volumes would be more larger text. And this was all again kind of a process driven data, but also below we have some application level data, like we can see all the different leave requests, like the two I submitted. Both of them has been approved. One is for 3 days, one is for 4 days. We can see the total number of leave days that we have, a kind of a KPI or gadget to make sure that we, you know, do not exceed the threshold that we're expecting for leaves. And we can also see the totals of the customer orders. So we can see some aggregations like the average price unit, the sum of quantity, the sum of amounts, and so on and so forth. Now maybe let's change the perspective to be maybe last year, so some more data will be pulled off. And again, this is my personal demo and development environment, so there's not too much information in here, but it's more to color up the dashboard with some more colors, so we can see more data has been driven. But again, it just to slice and dice and aggregate the data in more. And again, you can create this visualization, and you can actually take the full power of the Kibana and the ELK stack as a whole. And the key drive for this is this connector that allows to capture the data, both process and application data, and stream it into Elastic. Once it's inside the Elastic, then we can take the full power of the Elastic stack or the ELK stack, and especially the Kibana, to again slice, dice, aggregate, and drive intelligence from this data. One more thing I would like to show you is the Discover. Okay, so the Discover is a kind of a more visualized tool to explore your indexes and information, unlike the DevTools, which requires you to write some queries using the Elastic APIs. This one will just allow you to explore the indexes and what's inside of them, and to slice and dice them again with more kind of a raw data, but with no kind of code. So again, it was tuned for today. Let's again maybe change for now that we have from today, or let's maybe change for last year. Okay, so we can see the complete data, that documents that have been stored to the whole spectrum of the proc-ins data. Okay, so this is not just for today, but as you can see, proc-ins data and then star. And again, this is part of the capabilities of Elasticsearch and part of the capabilities of an time series based index, because we have day, the prefix, and then year. Let's see it in here, year, and then month, and then day. Then we can also query on, let's say I want to see everything inside the inside June 2023. So I can change it this way, and it will show me everything from June. Previously on today I only had 3 documents, and from June together I have 11. Or I want to see everything within 2023, so we can just do this. Okay, so 16 from 2023, and again, so this one just again see everything that we have inside the proc-ins data throughout years, throughout month, throughout days. And again, you can explore the information. If you'd like to drill into the document itself, you can do that, but it will show you again more friendly. It's not the JSON that we've seen before, but each of the properties is broken into its own row and have its value, and you can search for specific fields, or you can search them in here, and you can even, as you can see, create a kind of a table. So like if I want to add maybe the process initiator, so I can just browse the complete fields available within this index. Okay, I can search, or I can just browse them, and I can add them into this view to show as a kind of a more table format, which is easier for the eye to scan and identify some data and explore data. But still, again, we can explore the specific document. So that will conclude this demo, which again focus on part 1 of the integration, the Agile connector. Please stay tuned for a following demo, part 2 of this integration, which will focus on the process activity, in which we can see these activities and how they can play role within your process and automations. But for today, this will conclude, and hopefully this was insightful and valuable, and you can see the great value this can bring into leverage DLK with AgilePoint. And this is simply by the connector being available and uses as a kind of ingest for streaming all of our process and application data into Elastic. And once it's Elastic, again, we can take the full leverage of the Elastic or the ELK tools to search, index, visualize, and so on. So that will conclude this demo. Thank you, and stay tuned for part 2. Bye bye.